What's up? It's Marco. Sage of Soccer Day, and we talk about the U.S. men's national team under 20 teams 2-2 draw against Canada. And despite it being a draw, it's a very good result for the American team due to Canada's loss against Cuba. This now means that the USA squad is going to be avoiding Canada in the second round, meaning that we won't have to face them. It's just going to be a game against Cuba in the quarterfinals, no matter how the next game goes. So, despite the draw, very good result for the USA team. And this game, it was kind of a mixed bag. You'd see a lot of good things, a lot of things that need to be worked on. I really like the technical ability of this team. It's been a strength known for a while. You can see the team just, when they want to, they can just combine extremely well. Just pass in triangles, just extremely efficiently, get in front of goal, and are able to create chances really well through the middle. I really like what I see from, you see Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, Pax Anderson, Quinn Sullivan. Like, all of them are combining very well. That's a huge strength of this team. In addition, I was really liking the press they were doing, because this is a Canadian defense that you could see had a little bit of talent. Campagna was really good at playing out the back in St. Kitts Nevis. We saw that he had a really good pass on him. I don't think he got to have a good movement with the ball once this game. We were doing a very good job pressing him. We were not allowing them to play out the back much. The goalkeeper, like, he was making some good saves, but with his feet, that Canadian keeper was not good enough. Alexander, and we were punching for him for it. They weren't able to pass their way out the back. You had a couple of really good moments from Smith, Justin Smith, the Canadian player, where he was able to break the press, but I thought the press was doing very well. And in addition, for the goals, a couple of really good individual moments. I mean, Jack McGlynn's shot was amazing, a great goal there. Cade Quell just cutting in, amazing goal there. Like, some really good moments for this team. That being said, a couple things need to work on. The defense, there were concerns about going into this tournament. They're relevant. Defense was not dealing with the physical striker that well. I was talking about that as a bit of a concern going into the game, and yeah, they were struggling. Just weren't really coping with the Canadian attack that really, we saw how it wasn't great against Cuba, and they were struggling a bit. The defense is definitely going to be a weak point in this team moving forward, and something that has to be accounted for. You might just need to outscore the opposition. Then I really thought this team was a little bit held back by the style of play. I was mentioning how good the technical ability was, but I think that they weren't allowed to show it as much as they really could, because it seemed like we were pretty content to not take chances in certain places. We'd allow Brandon Craig to throw some long balls. He was doing very well there. We'd allow Cade Quell to dribble at some guys. Diego Luna was doing that a lot. But we weren't really making dangerous passes in the middle, which I think we should be doing in the future. I can understand why we weren't. We understand our defensive concerns. Canada was trying to hit us on the break. So it's something that I completely understand, but I personally think, and it's just a matter of opinion, that we should be trying to play a bit more. And last concern I want to talk about is, it was a positive as well, but our goals were just individual moments. We weren't really able to combine well and have like an amazing goal. We had a couple of those against St. Kitts Nevis. It was just Jack McGlynn scored off a set piece, and Cade Quell had a really nice moment. Like, that was our goals. We didn't combine well. We weren't breaking really well. We just had a couple of really strong moments by individual players. And I think that's something that's a negative in this team. Now, it should be said, this Canadian team was very good. I think Canada's here to stay. Like, this isn't just a flash in the pan. They're producing talent really well. Something interesting, the Canadian Premier League players have been good. Lowell Wright looked strong. Catavolo in the previous game. Poku wasn't the best today, but I think that was just his legs going out on him. Like, they should have more. Only 2 days between games is stupid. Like, I'm really glad. I think the only injuries were cramps. Like, I think everybody's fine, but that's not enough. But I really like the Canadian team today. In addition, they weren't just like playing defensively. They were, like I mentioned, Justin Smith dribbling out the back. A couple of guys were taking chances. Kobe Franklin. And they weren't lying down. They weren't just accepting a 1-0 win. They weren't just trying to not lose by as much as possible. I really liked how they were playing. And like I said before, I think they're going to be here to stay. They're going to be big players in Concacaf moving forward in the future. On to individual players, I thought we had a couple of really nice performances today by a lot of players. I was really liking Diego Luna today. He was advancing the ball really well. Had the assist on Jack McGlynn's goal, but I think that was more of a set-piece situation, so I'm not sure how much you count that. But he was looking really good, dangerous on the ball, dribbling past opponents really well. I'd honestly like to see him on the flank to see how he can do cutting in and just a really dangerous player. Glad to see how much he's a guy who's really talented and he's starting to get the most out of his talent. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Diego Luna. In addition, I thought Jack McGlynn had a really good game. Great pass for Pax Anderson that almost opened the scoring for the USA team. Amazing goal, and I thought he was doing really well with the ball at his feet. And even defensively, he was pretty good. Like, that's a bit of a concern for him. We're not sure about his athleticism, but man, he's got he moves around really well. Like, he's not fast, but he kind of looks fast, you know? Like, he's able to cover ground well, I guess. And I was really what I was seeing from Jack McGlynn defensively. I think that he can stay in this 8 position long term. I've liked him in the Philadelphia Union this year. I think in the MLS, he's been probably the best player out of him, Pax Anderson, and Quinn Sullivan. A really good player for the future. Cade Coyle, I feel like he needs a bit of work. Like, I think he gets compared to Adama Traore, and I don't think that's a compliment. But that was a really nice goal, and he was trying his best to make things happen. I love the mentality out of the player like that, and a great goal. Really salvaged the result for us. I also think Pax Anderson was doing his job well. I don't think that's the best position for him at the false 9, but when he got on the ball, he was making things happen. He had a couple of good shots. I don't think he was getting as involved as he could be, but he was doing pretty well, I think, for the job he was asked to do. Then Chris Brady, the goalkeeper, I don't think he could do too much about the goals. One was just 1v1, like, you can't ask him to save that, and the other was an own goal. And I want to talk about him because his feet were looking pretty good. I've heard a lot about him struggling playing out the back. He was looking very competent when he was tasked with doing so. That's definitely a positive. With you tournaments, you look for small things. Like I mentioned how Mauricio Cuevas being good with his left foot was a big bonus last time, and he played left back today. Like Chris Brady being good with his feet, that's a huge positive. And then I want to talk about Brandon Craig. He's a bit in the middle because I loved his passing. He was doing really well, just hitting balls all over the field. Really good corner kicks as well. Like when you have a center back taking set pieces, like somebody special. But I thought he was pretty weak on the first goal, and I thought he struggled to deal with the physical strikers that Canada have. Struggling with Lowell Wright and Bongoy. Like I don't think he was doing his best there. I think I've heard that long term he might be a better option at the 6th position, or just moving into the midfield, and I really have to agree with that. I liked his passing a lot, but defensively left a lot to be desired. Farcanis as well, like, I don't think they were dealing the best with the Canadian strikers, though. I don't really think that's a bad thing, like, development-wise, because they're just kind of getting out-muscled, and, like, you're going to develop, you're going to be able to put on muscle, like, it's not that much of a concern, but it's something to take note of. Also think Mauricio Cuevas wasn't the best day, being played out of position at left back. I mentioned he had a good left foot. The coach must have taken note of that. But really wasn't attacking that well. He had a couple good moments, but couldn't make anything happen. Like, he was getting down the flanks pretty well, but not much end product there. I thought he was getting beat defensively a good amount. And pretty soft on the first goal that Lowell Wright scored. Then Quinn Sullivan, he was not at his best today. Probably could have gotten a goal. I think that was a pretty tough one right after we scored the first. He had a decent chance, but he was combining pretty well. I liked his technical ability, but for a player of his ability, I really would have liked to see him get involved a bit more. Daniel Edmond, I'm not sure. Like, the quality of this stream wasn't that good. Like, I could be attributing some Daniel Edmonds moments to Jack McGlynn. So if I'm wrong about that, like, let me know. Like, but it didn't really seem like he was doing much. He wasn't stopping any Canadian counterattacks. He wasn't doing too much with the ball. Like, he was kind of just invisible this game, which, I don't know, like, Daniel Elman, he's a player that I want to have, I, like, want him to impress me, because he has, like, every tool. Like, he's a solid defender, he's good on the ball, like, jack-of-all-trades type player. But just, he needs to, like, really it's the same thing when I talk about Obed Vargas. Like, I can see the talent, just, like, wow me, like, impress me, make me take notice, you know? And lastly, Michael Holiday, the right back, I didn't have the best game. He hasn't been looking the greatest this tournament, which is disappointing, because I actually liked him in a couple of moments in the MLS with Orlando City. Like, he deserved to be in this team. He was looking good in the MLS, but it hasn't been the best this tournament. Own goal, like, it was a pretty bad own goal. Wasn't doing much offensively, and yeah, you should probably be starting Cuevas on the right moving forward, and definitely get Noah Allen back in on the left. For the substitutes, didn't make much of an impact. And moving forward, this team, like, I'd really like to see Rokas Puskas back in back in the team. Give him another look at the six, at least before Obed Vargas gets completely involved. And definitely want to get Noah Allen back in the team. Now, I don't want to talk too much about the Canadian team because I was focused on the American side the whole time. I wasn't analyzing the Canadian side too much, but man, that midfield two of Zahir and Justin Smith is really strong. Like a very good defensive pairing, a lot of technical ability in there. That's one that I think if both of them end up committing to the Canada, because they're both dual nationals, if they both commit to Canada, that's going to be a thorn in our side for years to come. Defensive ability, a good moving forward. Like I mentioned, Smith, I think he's a natural heir to Hutchinson. Like Zahir is going to be really good as well, and man, very dangerous looking team. They were playing like a lot better than they did against Cuba. I think Kashawn Ferdinand, Knight LaBelle in particular, were looking really good. Like Knight LaBelle had one really good pass out to the left hand side. Where I was like, where was that against Cuba? Like I didn't know he had that in his locker. Well, this is the second time I've seen him play, so don't blame me there. But much improved game by the Canadian team. The physical strikers like Lowell Wright and Bongo, like they're going to be giving teams trouble. I'm not too sure if Mexico's going to be able to deal with that too well. Like because it looks like Mexico's the team that Canada's going to play. Because man, that Cuba loss hurts. Like it's already impossible. Like they're going to have to go through Mexico if they want to get to the Olympics, get to the Under-20 World Cup. But I think it's going to be a good game because Canada, like, I feel like they're at their best when they can be more defensive. They can hit teams on the counter. Like, they're a team that's better as an underdog. So I'm looking forward to see how they can do. And, like, as they gel, as they continue to, like, improve, play more together, like, I feel like this team still lacks a bit of chemistry. They haven't had as many camps as they really should have. Circumstances, like, really made that happen. But you can definitely see the improvement in this Canadian team. But, man, that Cuba loss hurts. And it's going to be a struggle for them to achieve their goals this tournament, but I think they're a good team, and they're here to stay in Concacaf. For the upcoming game against Cuba, it's basically a dead rubber game. We still don't have like the final groups decided. Like we don't know who we're going to play in the round of 16 yet, but like it really doesn't matter. Like we could very easily lose. I could see the weaknesses in this American team, but I feel like we're not going to lose because an opposition does well against us. I think if we lose at this point, it's going to be us beating ourselves. So I honestly would be fine if we completely rotated the team against Cuba, make sure everybody's ready for the round of 16, ready for the quarterfinal match that will be against Cuba, or whoever else advances, because Cuba's not guaranteed to advance out of the round of 16. But I think that we're in a good position. And I mentioned before, I think this American team has the ability to qualify for the Olympics. I think we still do. We have a much easier path because we did our jobs today. We got the result against Canada. And I feel confident in this team moving forward. Yeah, that's all I have to talk about today. It was a really fun match, too. Like, 2-2, like, end-to-end a lot. Like, really fun match. That's all I talk about. See ya.